Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Johari and I'm a registered social worker here in Toronto. It is early August 2020 and this is the fifth video of my relationship series. So in this video I'm going to talk about what boundaries are. As a couples counselor specializing in premarital counseling, I love talking about relationship resources and tools. So in previous weeks in this relationship series of videos, I spoke about communication, conflict resolution, keeping the intimacy alive, and the 5 love languages. So please feel free to check out those videos if you haven't done so already. And in the upcoming weeks, I'll be covering adult attachment, how to manage inevitable struggles, and personality differences. So let's dive into boundaries. So this is such a big topic that I think I will probably do a second video on it next week. So for today, I'll just talk about defining what boundaries are. So Henry Cloud and John Townsend literally wrote the book on boundaries. It's called Boundaries: When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life. So this vlog is based on the chapter in that book on what boundaries look like. So let me start with what boundaries are not. So they are not big, huge walls that you have put up to protect yourself. It's a matter of guarding your heart to such a degree. So it's not a matter of guarding your heart to such a degree that it's hardened in that solitude. And so rather than guarding your heart from negative influences of jealousy or anxiety or anger and that coming into your heart and hardening your heart, Cloud and Townsend describe boundaries as fences. So fences are permeable. They let things in and out. So they are fences with gates. So the gates can open or close to keep the bad out and the good in. So if there is a negative influence in your life, then putting that boundary in place of saying, no, you know what, I'm not going to put up with that. And if you choose to do X, then Y is the consequence of that. So I'll give you a personal example. So I have a family member whose behaviors have caused her to live a life of loneliness and lack of well-being in all kinds of different areas. So I've offered her suggestions and encouragement countless number of times over the years. And I've come to realize finally that her wellness is actually not my responsibility. So that was very big. That was huge, especially as a therapist. I want to help people. That's my job. I'm helping people all day long, every day. So that is innate in me to want to help others. So obviously, when it's someone who I care about, and I'm seeing them make choices that are negative, that are pushing other people away, including myself, and that's disrespectful to others, including myself, then I want to support that person and help her try to change and make better choices. But over this period of time, over the years, I've realized that her choices and her actions are her responsibility. It's not actually my responsibility. So she has to be willing to take that ownership for herself. And I'm happy to help her along her journey. If she has a burden that she feels is great and, wants to talk that through, that's fine. But she alone is responsible for her own load. So Cloud and Townsend talk about each person being responsible for their own load or their own knapsack that they should be responsible for on a daily basis. So those tasks that are are theirs alone to bear, and that they should be owning that and taking responsibility for that on that daily basis. So it's when the burden is so great that like they're carrying this weight that's too heavy for them alone to carry, then other people can help them with that. But when it comes to things that they are responsible for, that they should be responsible for themselves, that they need to own that and take responsibility for that. So I've come to realize that it's up to her to make her own choices for her own life, and she's responsible for that. And if she does not, then she herself suffers the consequences of it, unfortunately. And saying no can be hard, right? Sometimes we say yes out of obligation or pressure or guilt, or just trying to be nice, or seeing someone in need and wanting to help them. So it can be really hard to say no and put that boundary in place. And I'm, for some reason right now I'm just thinking of The Giving Tree, that children's book, The Giving Tree, and gives and gives and gives to this child who says, oh, I want another one. Like, I think it was an apple tree. Oh, I want another one. I want another one. And so the tree keeps giving and giving and giving until they're dead. They don't have anything else to give. They have nothing to offer. And so if the tree was able to exercise appropriate boundaries of saying no, I can't give you everything. I can give you some things. I can help you to this degree, but I can't help you all the way to that degree that you're asking me to do. But what I can do is this. So really knowing where you draw that line, and no one else knows where that line could be. Like, you're the only one who knows where that line is for yourself, right? So then being clear about where you draw that line. For someone else, that line might look very different. So you can't necessarily assume that someone else will know where that line is for you. So being clear where that line is, and not necessarily succumbing to those obligations or pressures or guilt, but the resentment that we can potentially feel in saying yes when we really want to say no is only hurting ourselves. It's only hurting us. So it's okay to give yourself that permission to say no. I'm telling you that right now. It's okay to give yourself that permission to say no. And I know that's a hard one for a lot of people, but really, it's okay. You can give yourself that permission to say no. So it really starts with being comfortable with saying that word. No, I will not do that. Like, even practice it out loud now. No, I will not do that. No, I can't do that. No. Just practice saying that word. No. No. So it's okay to let others know where your boundaries are. And it's definitely okay to respect yourself and experience a sense of self-control in using that word no. So you're exercising self-control by saying no. So instead of saying, just succumbing and saying, okay, fine, yes, and then being resentful inside, you haven't exercised that fruit of the spirit, that self-control. You've just said yes yet again. So being able to exercise that fruit of the spirit of self-control and saying, no, I'm not comfortable with that, or no, I'm not going to put up with that, or no, I can't do that, or no, I'm not available, these kind of things. So it's okay to even remove yourself from being around that negative thing or negative person, whether it be geographically or emotionally, for a time being. And that gives that space and time to be able to reflect, to ground yourself, to gather yourself, and for the other person to realize, oh, they've disappeared. They're not here right now. And maybe that gives the other person a chance and opportunity to kind of reflect on their own behavior and actions, and realize how their negativity or behavior is impacting on you. So it's okay for a time being to put in those boundaries. So I'll give an example. So the same example that I was talking about before, with the family member. So with this example, it did finally come to a point where I had to make my boundary crystal clear. Her behavior was disrespectful towards me. It's not okay. I have a son. I need to be mindful of all these things. So I cannot tolerate certain kinds of behavior, especially around my son. That's where, for me, that was where I really drew the line. I think probably, to be honest, I probably tolerated the behavior from her for so long because it was only impacting on me. But now I have a child who I'm responsible for, and he's within my boundary line that I have to think about and protect and make sure that his world is positive and wonderful and amazing. So for me, that's when I drew the line. When there's disrespect towards me in front of him, that's a big no-no. That's not gonna happen, and I cannot tolerate that. So for me, that's when I really did draw that very clear line and boundary. So I told her that I cannot continue to talk with her until she got professional help. And so that was a big step for me to take that stance, and big for her to realize how serious I was, because honestly, she didn't believe me at first. She was still trying to engage with me and talk to me and text me, and I was very clear, I'm not going to talk to you until you get therapy, until you get professional help. And so she was still messaging me, and I would just either ignore it or send the same message of, have you found a therapist yet? So I was very, very clear in my stance, and it had to kind of come to that point. And fortunately, I do have a strong social network who are all really supportive of me and my decision, and they knew, the details, and so they were really supportive, and so I held firm with her, and she did eventually get the message that I was serious, and guess what? She got the help. She got the help that she needed. For a long time, she needed the help, and she got the help. And so that was really telling and really amazing to me. And so I do pray that the guidance that she gets through that help opens her up for the inner healing that she really does need. So that's my prayer now, is that, it's not my responsibility. It's on her. It's in her scope and her field of what she is working on. And so I'll leave that to her therapist, and God. So through that divine intervention, then hopefully she'll be able to get the healing, the true healing that she really does need. So in summary, know where your fence is, where you draw the line. Make that line very clear to other people. Allow the gates to open and close, to allow the good in, and then keep the good in, and let the bad out and keep the bad out. So you alone are responsible for your own actions and behavior, and others are responsible for theirs. So I hope this was helpful. In the next video on boundaries, I'll talk more about applying them to couples, and I know in-laws is a big contentious issue for a lot of couples, and so I'll speak to that as well. So next video will be on boundaries and applying them to couples and in-laws. So thank you so much for watching. And if you have any requests for any other videos, please email me directly. My email is on my website. So feel free to like or follow or subscribe or share or retweet or whatever it is, depending on which platform you're seeing this on. Just be aware of confidentiality risks given that this is a public platform. So God bless and be well. Take care.